Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review, an out-of-date Dynamite review. This is going to be a review of the February 3rd edition of Dynamite, which of course was Beach Break. And you guys are going to be getting two videos from me today. Of course, the Dynamite review, which is this, and of course later on tonight, the SmackDown review. So, for you guys, enjoy the double videos today. But I just finished watching Dynamite, recorded it since I had to work on Wednesday, so I didn't get out a review then. I just did the Echo Show 8 unboxing. But I gotta say, Dynamite from this week, Beach Break, I gotta say, it was a decent show, in my opinion. It was an enjoyable show. We saw a tag team battle royal, where the winners will get to face the Young Bucks at Revolution, where the titles will be on the line. We saw Britt Baker take on Thunderosa. We had a Lumberjack match between Lance Archer and Eddie Kingston, the rematch from last week, but only this week it was a Lumberjack match. We saw the wedding of Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian. And the main event, we saw a six-man tag, the Good Brothers and Kenny Omega versus Moxley, Pac, and Rey Fenix. Of course, the Death Triangle of Pac and Rey Fenix. And we also saw a surprise in the end, which it was unexpected. But I know a lot of you probably have seen the show, know what I'm talking about. So, because since I'm doing this review late. But overall, Dynamite was decent this week, with Beach Break. But let's get on with the Dynamite review. So, Dynamite kicked off on Wednesday. Beach Break on Dynamite kicked off with the Tag Team Battle Royal, in which the winner receives a tag team title match at Revolution, where the titles will be on the line. They get to take on the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick. So this was a pretty decent battle royal here. When Matt and Nick end up coming out, they end up flipping off of the stage. Both of them jumped off the stage and took some of them out at ringside. So Matt and Nick then got into the ring, and they took out anybody who got in the ring with them. So we had Private Party. They ended up sending Dante of Top Flight over the top rope. So Dante was the first one eliminated in this battle royal. So and we had Alex Reynolds end up battling Jake Hager, who was on the ring apron. Reynolds ended up getting thrown off of the apron, so he got eliminated. The Bucks were then eliminated later on, which that was, a shock, because they said if they won the match, if the Bucks won this tag team battle royal, then they get to pick their opponents, which unfortunately that didn't happen. That didn't happen in this tag team battle royal. So the two teams that won the tag team battle royal was Jericho and MJF of the Inner Circle. So Jericho and MJF win the tag team battle royal, and now they will receive a tag team title match at Revolution, where they get to be facing the Young Bucks. So, I mean, pretty much I knew going into this, seeing Jericho and MJF in this battle royal, I automatically thought to myself, I'm like, yeah, they're going to give the win to Jericho and MJF. But overall, it was a decent battle royal, tag team battle royal. And then we had Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone was in the ring. He ended up introducing the TNT champion, Darby Allin. So Darby Allin ended up coming out first, and Then Tony Schiavone ended up bringing out Sting. So Sting made his way out. Shivani then ended up announcing that Darby Allin is defending the TNT Championship next week on Dynamite against Joey Janela. So Team Taz then interrupted. Team Taz was shown on the screen. Taz ended up saying that they are stuck outside because they took out, some staffers. Because last week they end up destroying the merch table. They ended up taking out the guys who were at this merch table. So because of that, they couldn't get into the Daily's place since they were outside. So Taz ended up saying that next week they will be watching closely. So Starks end up getting on the mic. Starks end up saying about their upcoming street fight at Revolution, where it's going to be Darby Allin and Sting versus Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. So yeah, that's what Ricky Starks was talking about their upcoming street fight. Talk some trash to Darby Allin and Sting. So then Team Taz got off of the screen, and we went back to the ring, and Sting ended up taking the mic. Sting ended up saying that he'll be around next week as well to make sure that it's a one-on-one match between Darby Allin and Joey Janela. So Sting ended up telling Ricky Starks that when he looks into his eyes, Ricky Starks does see the same man anymore. So Sting was like, oh, maybe Ricky Starks should take a closer look. So that was how this segment ended. So it's going to be pretty cool next week. Darby Allin versus Joey Janela. TNT Championship is on the line. Sting is going to be out there to make sure that nobody interferes in the match between Darby Allin and Joey Janela. So that's going to be a pretty cool match to see next week on Dynamite. And then we had Britt Baker versus Thunderosa, which this was a enjoyable match here. We had Britt Baker end up coming out first along with Reba or Rebel, whatever you want to call it. I call her Reba because that's what Britt Baker ends up calling her. But Britt Baker, how she always comes out, smiling and all like that. She just came out in a pissy mood. Like she had a pissy look on her face. So Thunderosa then came out. She ended up getting right in the ring. She ended up sending Reba out to the floor. Britt Baker then tried to go for the lockjaw on Thunderosa, but Thunderosa ended up countering it and rolled Britt Baker up for a 2 count. Thunderosa was then working on Britt Baker's arm. She ended up throwing her into the corner, ended up delivering chops to Britt Baker's chest. Thunderosa delivered a shotgun drop kick to Britt Baker in the corner, and then she landed a cannonball senton. Went for the cover. Britt Baker ended up kicking out at 2. And we had Britt Baker was able to get control of the match, which she ended up sending Thunderosa out to the floor. She ended up delivering some strikes to Thunderosa. Baker then ended up tossing Thunderosa into the barricade, which she ended up fighting back Thunderosa. She then sent Britt Baker into the ring apron and launched her into the barricade. So it was just both Britt Baker and Thunderosa just brawling outside of the ring. So there was a lot of, pin attempts from Britt Baker and Thunderosa trying to get the 3 count. So at the end of the match, we had Thunderosa end up charging at Britt Baker. Baker ended up sending Thunderosa face first into the exposed turnbuckle because Reba ended up getting into the ring. She ended up ripping off the second turnbuckle, and the referee didn't see that. So that was when Britt Baker then sent Thunderosa face first into the turnbuckle. So Thunderosa was knocked out. So then Britt Baker applied the lockjaw to Thunderosa. The referee then immediately called for the bell. So there you go. Britt Baker ended up winning because the referee end up stopping the match. So, Thunderosa didn't even give up, but she was knocked out because of that exposed turnbuckle. So, but overall, it was an enjoyable match between Britt Baker and Thunderosa. But post-match, we saw one of the officials. They ended up coming in to check on Thunderosa. She was helped out of the ring. So that was that. So then they played a clip from last week where Matt Hardy was telling Tony Schiavone that he and Hangman and Page are just two Carolina boys hanging out, and that they hope that the both of them can hang out more often. Page ended up telling Matt Hardy that he isn't looking to be in a new tag team or sign one of his contracts. He ended up saying that he's just in the dressing room to get dressed, and that's it. So Matt Hardy then ended up getting it, and that he was just thinking that Page might want to get a match under his belt and wouldn't mind being his partner for this one match. So Hangman and Page agreed with Matt Hardy. So Page and Matt Hardy ended up taking on Chaos Project. So we got the match after that little clip that we saw. So it was Hangman and Page and Matt Hardy versus Chaos Project, Luther and Serpentico, which this was a very quick match here. As soon as the match got underway, we had Matt Hardy end up beating the hell out of Serpentico. Hangman and Page end up tagging in. He ended up delivering a shooting star press to Serpentico. Went for the cover. Serpentico ended up kicking out at 2. Matt Hardy ended up coming back in, delivered an elbow strike off the second rope to Serpentico. Luther then ended up getting a blind tag, which then Matt Hardy then delivered a side effect to Serpentico. Luther then clotheslined Matt Hardy, and he was stopping away at him. Luther was delivering chops in the corner to Matt Hardy, which Serpentico then ended up getting back in. Serpentico ended up again sent into Matt Hardy, and then Luther ended up splashing Matt Hardy into the corner. So Luther then ended up throwing Serpentico down on Matt Hardy, went for the cover, and Matt Hardy ended up kicking out at 2. You had a point where Hangman and Page was doing a discus forearm, and he was on the ring apron, but Luther ended up tripping him over. Luther ended up going for the Cannonball Senton off the ring apron, but Hangman and Page moved out of the way. Page then delivered the Buckshot Lariat to Serpentico, and it looked like he was going to finish the match, but Matt Hardy ended up taking himself in. Matt Hardy then went for the cover, and there you go. Matt Hardy and Hangman and Page end up winning the match, and with Matt Hardy end up taking himself in, Page was not happy about that. So Page didn't appreciate the move that Matt Hardy had done, just by tagging himself in and going for the cover. This was Page's, win here. So, but post-match, we had Hangman and Page. He was hesitant on, raising Matt Hardy's arm, but he ended up lifting up Matt Hardy's arms in a celebration, and that was that. But it was a very quick match. And then they announced the Women's World Championship Eliminator Tournament, which is happening this month. And there's going to be 16 women in this tournament. And the tournament is going to take place here in the U.S. and also from Japan. So, like I said, it's going to be here in the U.S. and in Japan, where the tournament's going to be taking place. So they announced the woman on the Japan side, on the Japan side of the bracket. So they end up announcing the women participants. So these participants are Aja Kong. I may pronounce these names wrong. So it's Aja Kong, Yuka Sakazaki, Veni, Amy Sakura, Ryo Mizunami, Mei Suruga, I think that's how you pronounce the last name, Ryan Kadakura, Maki Ito. So those are your women who are on the Japan side. Now we go to the U.S. side of the woman that's going to be in this tournament. We're going to have Serena Deeb, the NWA Women's World Champion. Rio is a part of this tournament. Britt Baker, Tay Conti, Thunderosa, Nyla Rose, Anna Jay, and Layla Hirsch. So those are the women who are going to be part of the U.S. side of the tournament. So there's your woman. There's your woman who are going to be in the Women's World Championship Eliminator Tournament. Hopefully it's good. So looking forward to it. So then we went backstage. Alex Marvez was talking with Jericho and MJF. Jericho and MJF end up saying that they are going to be the future World Tag Team Champions. So Jericho and MJF end up having some of the bubbly to celebrate with the rest of the Inner Circle who were in their room. So Jericho and MJF end up walking into the room, and the other guys who were in there, Guevara, Hager, Santana, Ortiz, they weren't quite as thrilled as Jericho and MJF were. So Sammy Guevara end up wondering why they are always collateral damage about what happened. So Sammy end up wondering why they are always collateral damage. And so he wasn't happy about that, so he walked out of the room. And so Jericho and MJF were there. MJF was like, oh yeah, I got to speak to you guys prior. So he told Wardlow to get the camera guy out of their room. And pretty much that was basically that, though. But there was a botch here, and some of you might have pointed it out, is that the TV in their room was on, and right when Jericho and MJF walked into the room, you could tell that that it was like a few minutes back because it showed Alex Marvez there with Jericho and MJF, and while they were in the room, on the TV it showed MJF and Jericho walking into the room. So I guess whoever saw that, they were like, oh yeah, we're a couple of minutes behind on the TV, so let's flip it off. So they immediately flipped it off. But that was kind of a botch there that I wanted to mention, because I was laughing at that. I was like, oh man, they forgot to turn off the TV in there. So they're minutes behind on the TV. So then we had the wedding of Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian. And there's news that actually broke out coming from TV Insider, which TV Insider did a little interview with Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian. And Kip Sabian ended up saying that him and Penelope Ford are getting legitimately married. And they said that they got married sometime, in the last few days. And that the segment that we saw on Dynamite was their ceremony. So Kip Sabian ended up saying, I obviously wanted my parents to be there, but they understand the situation. They'll be able to watch from home. Of course, with COVID going on. So Penelope Ford ended up saying that her parents are having a watch party with her siblings. So Sabian then ended up telling TV Insider that we could get married in our own house and be just as happy. We're people who just want to be married. He also wanted to say that down the line, once COVID is hopefully eradicated and things are okay, we'll have a celebration, a party, housewarming combined, where all our families can be there. So Kip Sabian also went on to say about how much input into the wedding they had with the officials of AEW. He said they made it very clear they wanted to put in a lot of time, effort, and money into the presentation of the wedding. He said, we wanted to make it a big deal and not just a story arc. We had a lot of input. At the same time, it's down to the production team and the ring crew to build the wedding set for us. Which, at the time that this interview came out, him and Penelope Ford haven't seen what the wedding set looked like. And he already said, I've already messaged my closest friends in the company, making sure they bring their suits. I want the people in AEW we're closest to be there as well. Miro ended up saying that Miro has a tux ready to go, and that he told Sammy Guevara to wear a suit. So he ended up saying that if Sammy Guevara doesn't wear a suit, he's going to be very upset. So that's all what Kip Sabian had to say in this interview with him and Penelope Ford, courtesy of TV Insider. So just that little news that I wanted to get out there. But they were married, for just the few days before their ceremony took place on Dynamite. So backstage, Tony Schiavone ended up talking with Kip Sabian, Miro, and Chucky T, or as Miro calls him, Charles, about the wedding. Kip Sabian ended up saying that he's ready. And Miro then ended up saying that he's super happy that Kip Sabian is getting married, because of course Miro is the best man. So Vicky Guerrero ended up letting Kip Sabian know that it's time to head out to the ring for the wedding. So then we went to the ring. The wedding set was already built in the ring. You had gifts, wedding items in the ring. You saw a cake there. And I'm like, if they have a big cake there, somebody's going to be popping out of that cake. So, but then, the wedding kicked off with Kip and Penelope. The whole dearly beloved, we're gathered here today. Kip and Penelope Ford end up saying their vows. Penelope Ford was absolutely gorgeous here in that wedding suit. She was absolutely pretty here. So Kip Sabian ended up delivering his vows. He ended up saying that he'll never forget first seeing Penelope Ford in that one piece, and also her eyes, and also how his eyes met her eyes, and also meeting her chest. So that was what Kip Sabian had to say for his vow. Penelope Ford ended up doing her vow to Kip Sabian, where she ended up saying that she loves Kip and that he has the biggest. Well, we all know what she was going to say, though. So then they end up getting the rings. So they end up, putting on the rings. So we had Mitchell, who was it was James Mitchell, who was the officiant. He was doing the whole wedding. So then he ended up announcing, if there's anyone who objects, and then Miro jumps in. He's like, oh, no. He saying that he's been through that before, and that they should just skip that. So Mitchell then ended up pronouncing Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford man and wife. So Kip Sabian, Penelope Ford end up kissing, of course. So, they got married, a few days ago, but I'm very happy for them. Very happy for both Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian. So Miro then ended up giving a toast to Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian. he ended up telling Charles to bring the drinks over. Miro ended up saying that while he may not have had the best bachelor's party, Kip Sabian's present is him. Miro ended up saying that it's his knowledge and power that Sabian has. So we see a giant present in the corner. Miro ended up asking, what's in it? So Chucky T ended up saying that the gift was for him. So Miro then ended up destroying the present, and he ended up telling Charles, or Chucky T, what Miro says, calls him Charles, to clean it up. So Miro then ended up saying that, what is love? And then you heard the crowd going, oh, baby, don't hurt me. The What Is Love song by Hideaway. I mean, we all know the song. It's a 90s classic. If you've seen The Night at the Roxbury, it was Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan bumping their heads to that song going. You all know that song. It's a classic 90s song. So Miro kept on saying, what is love? And then the crowd started doing the baby don't hurt me no more. So Miro was like, all right, enough of that. It's my wedding. So he ended up saying that it's time for cake. So Miro then ended up going for some of the cake, and he was shackled to the ring by Chucky T. So Chucky T then ended up hitting Kip Sabian. Miro's leg was cuffed, so he couldn't move. So we had Penelope Ford end up again on top of Chucky T. And we had Penelope Ford going face first into the cake, where she didn't get a whole wad of frosting on her face. So Kip Sabian ended up going to punch Chucky T. Sabian accidentally punched Miro because Chucky T got out of the way. So Kip Sabian was like, oh, you ruined everything. And so lo and behold, from the cake, we see Orange Cassidy pops out of it. So Orange Cassidy popped out of the cake, ended up dropping Kip Sabian. And then Chucky T and Orange Cassidy ended up celebrating. They were enjoying some of the bubbly. So that was basically how the segment ended. That was basically how the wedding of Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian ended. But the same outfit that Miro was wearing, he actually reused that outfit for Dynamite. That was the same outfit, because I read this. That was the same outfit that Miro wore when he was, of course, in WWE, when he was known as Rusev. He also wore that outfit during his wedding celebration with his wife, Lana. And that was, of course, that took place on Monday Night Raw in 2016, which that segment got interrupted by Roman Reigns, if you remember. That was when Lana went face first into the cake, got a whole bunch of frosting on, her face. So so that was the same outfit that Miro wore on Dynamite. That was the same outfit that he wore on Monday Night Raw in his wedding celebration with his wife Lana. So that was kind of a little, trivia there. That was released that I saw. So, well, but congrats to Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian. Oh, and then we had Shaq KENTA promo. This was during the Inside the NBA, I think it was, on TNT. And I have another clip here. You'll hear just the audio clip of Shaq and Jade Cargill. They're going to end up battling Cody Rhodes and Red Velvet. Unfortunately, it's not going to be taking place at Revolution. It's going to be taking place on the March 3rd edition of Dynamite. They couldn't get Shaq for Revolution. They couldn't have this match at Revolution because something with the NBA. I think on that weekend, I think it's like the big NBA games are happening. So, but I'm gonna play this audio clip for you guys to hear. And Shaq didn't call Cody a little punk, like in the last one. He ended up calling him Cupcake, which I found funny. But I'll play it right now. So here's what Shaq had to say.
I tell you what, Cupcake Cody Rhodes. I said, I'm gonna beat you like I almost beat Chuck. Remember when I gave Chuck the left and he flinched? That's how I'm gonna beat you. Name the place. I'm gonna do it.
You would do what?
I'm gonna wrestle him.
You ain't no wrestler. Yeah, come on, man.
You want me to do it?
You think you can fight him?
Sure. You want me to do it?
Of course we want you to do it.
Okay, it's done. I'm gonna do it.
You gonna do what?
I'm gonna wrestle Cody Rhodes. Me and Jay gonna wrestle Cody and Red Pumpkin Pie.
You know he's from a
Red
famous
Pumpkin
wrestling
Pie.
family, right?
I don't care where he's from.
I
I'll whip him like I almost whip you.
I will say this.
Cody.
I've seen Shane, when he fought Shane Mosley, and Shane Mosley got a little more than he expected.
Exactly. So, I'm going to do it. You want me to do it?
Do you have a preferred wrestling move, Shaq?
Yes, it's called the Black Tornado.
So the Black Tornado.
Move over this way.
So apparently Shaq got up.
So the Black Tornado. Actually, I don't want to, break this glass, but the Black Tornado is when I take the ball and I act like I'm coming through like this, and then
So Shaq turns around and he elbows the plexiglass, and then he hits it, and then he breaks the plexiglass.
Enough. We get it. We get it.
That's what I'm gonna do to you, Cupcake Cody.
Cupcake Cody. So yeah, so that was a little clip of what Shaq had to say. Calling Cody Rhodes Cupcake Cody. So yeah, it's gonna be it's official. March 3rd on that Dynamite. It's gonna be Shaq and Jade Cargill versus Cody Rhodes and Red Velvet. And to me, this match, the match is gonna be terrible, in my opinion. To me, this is my prediction. It's gonna be Jade Cargill and Red Velvet going at it the whole match. Shaq and Cody is probably just going to have a face-to-face. They'll probably throw some punches here and there. But the majority of the match is possibly going to be Jade Cargill and Red Velvet. That's my prediction. I may be wrong on that. But, AEW sometimes, AEW is unpredictable sometimes. So I may get that wrong. But that's my prediction. That's my prediction. But it's not needed. This is not needed. So, I mean, what else can I say? It's not a match. It's a match that's not needed. It's just going to be Jade Cargill and Red Velvet just going at it for the entire match. So, like I said, I may be wrong, but that's my prediction. And then we went to Lance Archer and Eddie Kingston versus Eddie Kingston Lumberjack match, which this was just a quick match here for Eddie Kingston and Lance Archer. This was their rematch from last week, even though last week it was just a one-on-one. This was just a added stipulation. So the match got off with Lance Archer racing out, and he started beating the hell out of Eddie Kingston. The Butcher and the Blade, of course, Kingston's guys, started yanking Lance Archer out of the ring, started swinging away at him. Lance Archer ended up fighting off them a little bit. So Lance Archer ended up making his way back into the ring and delivered a splash down onto some of the Lumberjacks. So, in the end, Lance Archer ended up getting the win. He ended up pinning the Blackout on Eddie Kingston. We had, I think it was the Blade, ended up setting up a table in the corner. And he ended up getting speared. The Blade ended up getting speared into the table. So, but Lance Archer ended up winning the Lumberjack match. But overall, it was a quick match here. It was a quick Lumberjack match. And then we had FTR. FTR was backstage, and they ended up saying that they can't believe Jungle Boy went to Tony Khan and complained and got them suspended. Tully Blanchard ended up saying that everyone is scared of them. So they kept getting banned to keep them away. So Tully Blanchard ended up saying, what does it take to get them a title match? Harwood ended up saying that they aren't bad men, but they think to themselves, what would bad men do? So Harwood ended up yanking over Marco Stunt, and Marco Stunt was shown handcuffed to a chair, and he had tape over his mouth. He couldn't even move because he was handcuffed by FTR. So, but that was that. And so then they went over the matches that we're going to see next week on Dynamite. We're going to be seeing Darby Allin versus Joey Janela. AEW the TNT Championship on the line. So that's going to be an awesome match. We got Jericho and MJF taking on the Acclaimed. And they also announced it's going to be Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson versus Peter Avalon and Cesar Bonani. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. But great, we're going to have to sit through a Peter Avalon match once again. Help us. Peter Avalon is terrible in the ring. Oh man, that's one match that I'm not looking forward to next week. Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson, they're going to win the match. It's got Peter Avalon in it. You already know that him and his opponent are losing. So then we went backstage. Joey Janela ended up cutting a promo. Janela ended up saying that he and Darby Allin have a long history of mangling themselves in the ring. He ended up saying next week the stakes have never been so high. Janela ended up saying that he's back, and the future TNT champion is going to be a bad, bad boy. So that was a little promo from Joey Janela here. So then we had the main event. The Good Brothers, Doc Gallows, Carl Anderson, and Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley, Pac, and Rey Fenix. You know, of course, Pac, Rey Fenix, Death Triangle. We had Don Callis on commentary here. So the match started off with Moxley going right after Doc Gallows. They end up trading shots. Moxley delivered a kick to Gallows' chest, delivered the running knee, and an elbow drop. Went for the cover, which Gallows ended up kicking out too. Pac got into the match. He took on Carl Anderson. Tried to go for the early pin. Anderson ended up kicking out. You had Omega end up stopping Anderson, which Anderson was going for an aerial move. Gallows ended up getting thrown into the center of the ring, which Carl Anderson ended up hitting Pac into Kenny Omega's boot. Omega came in, started throwing punches in the corner. And at the end of the match, you had Omega and the Good Brothers win it, where we saw the Good Brothers end up delivering the Magic Killer to Rey Fenix. Omega delivered the V-trigger on Pac, and Gallows went for the cover on Fenix. So you go, Omega and the Good Brothers end up winning the match. Post-match, we had Omega and the Good Brothers, they were stopping away on Fenix. Moxley ended up getting in, but he ended up getting dropped. Lance Archer's music ended up hitting. Lance Archer ended up racing out, and he ended up taking out Anderson and Gallows. Moxley and Omega were in the ring still. So Moxley was going to do something to Omega, and this was where the surprise happened, where this was unexpected. Moxley got blinded from behind, and it was revealed it was KENTA. KENTA from New Japan came and attacked Moxley. KENTA ended up taking off his mask, and he revealed himself. So KENTA, if you all know, KENTA is the #1 contender for Moxley's IWGP United States Championship. So KENTA then ended up hitting the go to sleep on Moxley, and Omega then ended up smiling at KENTA as KENTA ended up heading out of the ring. Omega then ended up putting his foot on Moxley, and that was how Dynamite went off the air. But KENTA, awesome seeing him. And they also ended up announcing that for next week on Dynamite, it's going to be Omega and KENTA teaming up to take on Moxley and Lance Archer. It's going to be a Falls Count Anywhere match. So that's going to be awesome to see. That's going to be a good match there. With KENTA here in AEW, it looks like AEW possibly made a deal with New Japan. And I called this a few months ago. You know, you have Don Callis show up in AEW with Kenny Omega. The Good Brothers end up coming in. They're from Impact. So AEW looks like it made a deal with Impact. And then I said, oh yeah, watch AEW make this sort of deal with New Japan. And look, we got KENTA. KENTA's from New Japan. So there you go. But yeah, but it was awesome seeing KENTA here in AEW. But overall, Dynamite from this week, Beach Break, decent show. It was enjoyable. But yes, anyways, that's it for my review of Dynamite. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and I will see you all later tonight for SmackDown.